So last night I attended the Poshmark Live held by Poshmark that talked about how to increase your sales and do better Poshmark Live shows. And as someone who is a technically full-time Poshmark reseller, some of this information cannot just be found on the internet. I took notes on my phone of everything they said that I thought was important, and I just kind of want to put this information out there in case you want to do live shows on your own. If you're new here, my name is Sophia, and this channel is dedicated to helping you grow on Poshmark. I have recently started to grow my own Poshmark business higher and higher every single month, and I have said that every single goal, if I keep hitting it, I'm going to make videos to help other people do the same. If you're interested, subscribe, but I'm not forcing you to. The first thing that they said that I thought was actually semi-important was that shows with descriptive and relevant titles have more sales. So they said that shoppers are looking for brands and they're looking for deals, which is something that we know in general. You know, people want to get a deal on great brands. So brands seem like they're important to be in the title. So if you have maybe Lululemon in your show, a good example would be if this was the title of your show. $10 closet clear out featuring Free People, Lily Pulitzer, Lululemon, Nike, size extra small to 3X. Now, I'm not sure that all of those characters would actually fit in the Poshmark title, but that is what they told us. They also said to use relevant show tags, especially popular show tags, and they specified that evidently there is a section in the app where we can go look at the Posh shows and filter by popular and then use the show tags that other people are using, because those are the ones that most people are clicking on and watching shows that are tagged under that. So they said some of the popular ones right now at least are the Sell Together shows, which we'll talk about that in a minute, but supposedly those are like really wonderful. Closet Clear Out is another one, and then specific brands. And first show, evidently if it is your first show, is like an amazing tag to use. So then they went into marketing and engagement. They said a majority of buyers make at least one comment in a show that they purchase from. So if there's a way to like persuade people to comment, you know, like that's a good way to kind of make sure that they're engaged and all of that and actually stay in your show, and you have a higher chance of them actually purchasing something. They recommended saying, like if someone joins in, you know how you can see like so-and-so joined, they recommend saying like, oh, hello, closet, ask what they're looking for, and then also how their day is going, because you want them to try and respond in the chat, because then we have a higher chance of them actually purchasing something from us. They also said to use the poll to get the engagement started. Then we went into hosting basics, and it says hosts want to start their show and just get going, but don't be discouraged. And they shared this, which I think is so important, and when I've tested this out myself doing my own Poshmark live shows, this is something that I've noticed. They said that sales start to increase 15 minutes after live shows have started, not silent shows. So all of this stuff is not about silent shows. Run your show for at least 15 minutes because that allows enough time for your followers, shoppers, and people to see the notification of the show. They also said, this is pretty important, that you should run auctions even if it is quiet. And they said that run at least 5 auctions and you'll be more likely to get a sale. So if you run at least 5 auctions, you're more likely to get a sale. Keep running auctions and keep going is what they said. Then they talked about the Sell Together, which we talked about before, is a tag that you can add to your show. So they said that the Sell Together shows actually attract 2 to 3 times more viewers than other live shows. So if you could find someone to go live with you, that might be a really good way to increase the amount of viewers and increase your sales. So the Sell Together is basically where it's picture in picture. You have 2 hosts on the screen and people can click on which host they want to see, like big screen, and then the other one will be in a smaller screen. So a lot of people were commenting in the chat asking what they're doing about bullying, and I wrote this down because I was like, are you kidding me? The first time that someone commented that, one of the people actually laughed, like kind of laughing about the situation when they're asking about bullying, which I did not appreciate. And they said that they certainly have a no bullying policy, but they try to hear both sides of the story. And later on it ended up like everyone was just spamming the chat being like, what are you doing about bullying? Like there is a lot of bullying going on. What are you doing? Then they said silent shows, all of these tips and strategies are for live shows. They do not recommend silent shows for revenue, only to practice for doing an actual live show, which that's pretty important. So just because you're doing a silent show, they're basically saying they're not effective. So you really should be trying to pivot if you're actually here to make money to doing regular live shows. They also mentioned that a lot of your followers do not have their Poshmark notifications on. So they're not going to get a notification unless they bookmark your show. That's what they said, or if they save the show. Now, if they have their notifications 15% off in general. I don't think they're gonna get it, but that's what they said, so I'm telling you that. Then they had a little section of the show where they go over the Poshmark myths, where things are true or false, you know? So the first one said, everyone does $3 or really low starts, and I don't want to participate because of the low starts. And then they said that it's a myth because you can set the price to whatever you want, and shoppers are looking for deals and unique items and brands. So they said the price does not matter as much as you think it does. People are trying to do a $3 bid war. So when they have the low price, it's only because people are trying to do like a bid war on the items. The lady in the show, I'm not sure her name, but she said that she even starts her shows with the lowest price that she feels comfortable with it selling at. But people are definitely looking for unique items. Now, I don't know how many people, if it's like an unbranded item that's unique, are gonna go in a show and pay like $30 to $40 for something, but they might pay $20 for like a really unique piece. So as a reseller though, you definitely have to be careful about what you are purchasing for these shows. So you cannot really take the items that you're expecting to sell in your actual Poshmark closet and try and sell those on a show, because you're just not going to get the same amount of money there unless you're like famous on social media or something. When I used to do live shows before I started really focusing on like taking photos and posting items the old way, I would source inventory specifically for shows because people are definitely looking for certain brands, but I have to be able to pay like very little for them to actually make money on the show for them. And sometimes even the brand doesn't matter, but as long as it's like new tags or a unique piece, they'll pay, you know, $12 for it. So depending on the price that I pay for it is where I'm making my money. Keep that in mind. If you want me to do like a live show tips thing, let me know. I used to do live shows a couple months ago, and I decided that it was better to focus more on like getting listings up for me personally, and then later focus on incorporating live shows back into my business. So I don't do them necessarily anymore, but I did for a long time and was relatively successful with it. The next myth was that you need 2 devices to do a show. She said you only need 1 device. The only thing you need with 2 devices is to host a sell together where you have the 2 people on screen, or if you need to add listings or do like a quick list. But if you go in there with all of your items already loaded up and all of that, you can do a show just on 1 device. Another myth or truth thing they talked about is having to cancel accidental bids. So they confirmed that when someone places a bid on an item in an auction or in a live show auction, it acts the same way as make an offer. So it is up to your discretion if you want to cancel that. So if someone's like, oh, I accidentally bid on this item, you don't have to cancel it. Then they confirmed that the heart eyes, as of right now, are just a way to interact with the current show, but that will be forwarded as feedback, as they are aware that on other platforms it acts as an algorithm boost. So they do know that on Whatnot, if you have like a bunch of likes or whatever, your show shows up higher. But as of right now, it does not do anything for people to sit there and spam the heart eyes button. They literally confirmed that last night. Another myth that they talked about was playing music. So they said playing music, some like it and some don't. It really doesn't matter whether you play music or not. You don't have to. They said that you do need royalty-free music because of the copyright issues. Then they talked about giveaways, which I thought was pretty interesting because according to like Poshmark's own terms of service and like all of that stuff, giveaways are not allowed. But this is what they said. They said giveaways are not a feature that they currently have. So they obviously don't have the thing that Whatnot has where you could do giveaways. So they said giveaways should be more of a gifting thing, because if someone doesn't purchase anything, you're not going to have a label, and then that would be like an off Poshmark transaction, and then you could get in trouble for that. But then she said, kind of like a little bit under her breath, that they shouldn't happen, I guess. Not sure about that. Clearly in the Poshmark thing, you're not supposed to have them. But maybe if you do it in a gifting way, they're saying that it's okay. She said in the running for some sort of like prize or gift or something should be fine. Someone asked about sellers repeatedly canceling orders, and they said that it does reflect on their account when abusing and canceling orders, and that falls into the marketplace trust and safety guidelines. So it does show on their account, I guess, when people are just canceling orders. And then they talked about the 50 tray limit, which I know a lot of people hate and it was super annoying, but they did add where you can like clear out the tray and all of that stuff now, so it's a little bit better. They said that if you want to add more than 50, you're going to have to delete items and then add more using the second device that you're going to have. They did say though, for transparency about the 50 in the tray, they said the reason that we don't have more than 50 is because it is more difficult on the back end to expand the tray, which is why it is set to 50. It's the same for the swipe to bid. So when they added that swipe to bid thing, they ran into like a lot of glitches, like things were just glitching out. So they ended up switching back, and that's why it's not currently an option, because it's just more difficult on the back end. So they did say that they hear you, just sometimes it's more complicated on the back end for new features. So then people were asking about sending viewers of a show like easier, and they did say that they are working on making it better, and they see your comments about finding a show better. And they said right now it's actually recommended based on a similar show. So right now it's not just random, supposedly. It actually like somehow in an algorithm or something figures out what show is most relevant, I guess, or similar to the show that you just put on. But they are trying to add something where you can like search in someone's name or something like that. So I was just wanting to know for my personal self, because we don't really have any data on like all of that stuff. We don't really have any data really with Poshmark, like pretty much at all, but I wanted the information. Okay, so I was like spamming the comments with capital letters asking like, when is the best time to do a show? They just said that the best way to look at it is that people are most active during evening parties during 5 to 7 Pacific Standard Time. But they said that the number of viewers doesn't essentially mean that it will be a successful show. And they went on to specify that tons of people have smaller shows, and a lot of buyers are actually preferring the smaller show because your comments just kind of get lost, and it's just overall a better buying experience. That was everything that I wrote notes on from the live show last night. I hope this was helpful. I really just wanted to kind of get this information out there and put this on the internet, because I'm a person that like will troll through Reddit and YouTube and all of that to find specific things like this where things have been confirmed or denied by Poshmark. Quick little plug that if you're into thrifting and Poshmark and all of that, that is what my channel is about. So hit that subscribe button if you're interested in the same things. I would love to have you here.